What's up guys, Macadii here. Now today I'm bringing you guys a battle against Flashfire in the week 3 of the IEP League. His team, as you guys may know, is the Goldenrod Gligars, and I must admit you guys really should stick around for this one, because this was definitely the best battle I've ever had in all of my competitive Pokemon playing. It was absolutely crazy and incredible, and honestly, stick around because you're going to find this one absolutely crazy. So looking at his team, well, at least from his draft as well, there are a lot of really threatening Pokemon. He had a really good Volt Turn sort of core going. A lot of, I think, something crazy like 7 or 8 of his Pokemon could learn out of a Volt Switch or U-Turn. So he was getting some really good sort of Volt Turn teams going, which is really threatening, I must admit. So one thing I was really scared of was that Staraptor, because he normally runs that Scarfed, which he did do in this battle as well, and that 2-hit KOs pretty much every single mon on my team if he chooses the right move, which is just absolutely terrifying, I must admit. He also has Entei, which he loves to run banded, and that's a huge threat as well, because that also 2-hit KOs a lot of my Pokemon. So in sort of retaliation to that, I decided to pick up the Dusclops from your guys' recommendations, because you were saying that I needed some sort of more bulk to my team, opportunity to run different sort of cores and things like that. So I decided to bring Umbreon and also Dusclops up as free agents, replacing Toxicroak and also Licky because Licky really wasn't doing anything. So I'm really pleased with those. So what I decided to do is have a physically defensive Dusclops, and then he doesn't have that many hard-hitting special attackers. So I decided to run the Umbreon as physically defensive as well, because I knew I only took a sort of, if he was fully offensive Scizor, I only took about 50%, which means actually Wish Protect, I could actually, I was almost immune to that Scizor, if that makes sense, because I could always Wish on the Volt Switch, protect the turn after, or sort of in that sort of combination, and just heal straight back up, so that was fine. I want to make him think that I brought 2 defensive cores to sort of strike terror in him, so I decided to bring the Venatran Quag core, but it was very different to what he was expecting. It was my Venusaur was, I think it was 248 in HP, and then a 252 modest in special attack. So it was a sort of a physical tank, and then I ran Specs Heatran as well. So it was going to hit a lot harder than he was expecting from the defensive set. So we're going to jump straight into the battle right here. So I led off here with the Dusclops, as he led off with the Hariyama. Now I knew for a fact that this Hariyama was probably running knockoff, specifically because he knew I picked up the Dusclops. So I had to then obviously switch out into the Quagsire to take the knockoff, because I figured this was probably my least useful mon on this team. He does get onto the Scizor, as I get a crit off that first turn, which is quite useful, but unfortunately I don't get the burn, as he retaliates himself with a crit here, going out into his Yellow Sacred. I probably should have recovered on that turn. That was a bit of a mistake, so I am forced out here as he goes to the Volt Switch. Now, I'm pretty sure I must have miscounted that, because I thought at this point he was Specs. He does go out into the Staraptor, forcing me to go out into my Dusclops. He goes back out into this. There's a lot of switching involved in this, and I'm actually going to slow it down very slightly. So this point here, he was really testing for that HP fire, because I was running it on my Mega Scizor, on my Mega Venusaur, but I didn't want him to know. So I decided to go for the Sludge Bomb here in case he wants to go out into that Staraptor. He ends up switching out here, going out into Sacred, as that ends up not taking a hit, because I go for a Synthesis just to heal up there, predicting him to Volt Switch out, to U-turn out, as he goes back out into this, making an excellent double switch as I go out into the Quagsire, but unfortunately for him, a fake out close combat combination isn't actually enough, because Quagsire is a defensive monster. It only brings me down to 6%, which means I'm able to recover up here. Absolutely beautiful. From here, I think he does go out into the Raikou, making me... I decided to recover up here because I want to sort of try and keep all of my walls at a reasonable level of health. Me thinking this was Specs, I decided to go for the Protector, as he reveals the extra sensory, which is huge. So I know he can do about 47% to my Mega Venusaur. So from here, I thought he was Specs, which is why I went out into the Heatran. I thought he was Specs, which was why I went out into that, but he revealed that he didn't. I then go for the Lava Plume, which really does quite a lot of damage. It was quite surprising, as he ends up forcing me out, because I was sure he was going to go for a Bulldoze, as he makes the excellent play of going for the Sacred Fire, gets that burn as well, which means Quagsire, without his leftovers and burn, isn't going to be massively useful, I must admit. So I do end up doubling out here into the Umbreon because I knew that this was probably going to come out. And because he wasn't shiny, I knew he wasn't packing the Aura Sphere as well. So I do end up forcing him out. And I go for the Wish here. I knew for a fact that I could take a U-turn. So I wasn't too worried here. So I take a U-turn, 43%, revealed to me that this was actually a defensive Scizor, as he goes out in Spaghetti here. So I get a Foul Play, which really doesn't do a huge amount. But I get that Wish back up, which is absolutely excellent. I end up going out now into my Mega Venusaur because I knew for a fact I could completely wall this, as he makes an absolutely brilliant double out into his Staraptor. This Staraptor is such a threat, forcing me out into the Dusclops as he goes to the Brave Bird this time, doing 41%, which was a max roll. So Dusclops is surprisingly bulky, especially considering how offensive and crazy the Staraptor is. So I go for the rest here because I want to keep this up at as much health as possible. I have got the heal bell on the Umbreon as well, so it's not too much of a bother. As I go out into the Quagsire here, predicting the switch back out into the Hariyama. There's so many sort of mind games and double switches going on. Unfortunately here, because I don't have the leftovers, the burn will end up bringing me down to KO range. So I decide to sack off the Quagsire here, because I was like, right, I've got 2 Wall Breakers here. I've got the Hitmonlee, and I've got the Heatran, so I can go out into the Hitmonlee and start killing a Monk. Because once I've got one of his Pokemon out the way, it's going to make life so much easier. So he goes there into Spaghetti. I get the high jump kick off, doing a reasonable amount. I decide to go for the knockoff here, knowing that I probably, there's probably going to be either a Sleep Powder or he was going to go out into the Staraptor. I'm not too fussed though, because it means I can bring out Umbreon safely. As he goes for the knockoff here, taking out my leftovers, which is definitely a pain. But I go for the Wish here, in case he wants to switch out. He does end up missing the Leech Seed, but it does mean I can Heal Bell my team, and that's absolutely excellent. He does end up getting the Leech Seed, but to be honest, I'm going to be going out this turn anyway, so it doesn't make a huge amount of difference. As I go out into the Heatran this turn, because I was predicting the Staraptor to come back out, but obviously the Scizor is now in. He goes out into Yellow Sacred, which is Assault Vest, which doesn't... A Lava Plume does a surprisingly small amount, and at that point he realised that I was Specs. So he ends up Volt Switching out here into your mum, which doesn't take a huge amount. So this, I decided, was probably going to be the Thick Fat variant, so I wasn't too scared about burning this anymore. From the calcs, that's what it revealed. As he goes to the Close Combat here, really not doing a huge amount. So I'm going to end up forcing him out here. So he ends up switching out into the Mega Scizor. Now this is when the mind game started. So I went for the Sludge Bomb here. I thought he may end up switching out here, so I went for another one, as he ended up going for the Roost. I wasn't too fussed about that. I know I could have KO'd, but it's worth playing these sorts of mind games. So he was completely confused at this point. He thought that I was able to KO him from there. So I end up switching out here into the Umbreon because I knew that extra sensory was coming. And this Yellow Sacred really can't do a huge amount to me. I mean, 24% is not particularly great. So he ends up going out into the Scizor here. So I get another Wish up here. And that means that I can get another U-turn hit on me without too much bother. As he goes out into the Hariyama. I probably should have protected there, thinking about it. It's a really tricky decision to know looking back on it. But I decided that was probably the best bet, because I have the Venusaur switching for this all day. I had no problem with going out into this. There's Venusaur literally completely walled that. As he goes out into the Staraptor here, I do have to Synthesis here. I was forced to Synthesis because I did need to keep this Venusaur up at as much health as possible. And I still had the Dusclops switch as well. So Brave Bird doing a reasonable amount. I wanted to whittle this guy down as well, just so I can start sort of doing any revenge killing and stuff like that. And I just go for the Seismic Toss here just for a bit of damage. As he goes to the Sacred Fire here, bring me down to quite a dangerous amount of HP. I decided to rest here as well, because it meant that I could then bring out go out into the Staraptor at any point. He goes out into the Hariyama as I go out into the Heatran. And I know for a fact that, unfortunately, I can't take this out, so I am forced out into Venusaur, but I can, as I said, I can completely wall that. But he makes another excellent double out into the Staraptor. This Staraptor caused so many problems in this match, it was unbelievable. So I go out into the Dusclops here as he does go for that U-turn. So many 50-50 choices, it was just absolutely crazy. As he goes back out into the Hariyama. But as I said, I do have the Venusaur for this, it's not a problem. He does end up going out into Yellow Sacred here, as I have a really tricky choice to make here. I could either stay in and go for an attack, or I could switch out into the Umbreon. So I decided to stay in here, as I go for another Sludge Bomb, and now he's completely convinced that I don't have the Hidden Power Fire. So I decide to show it right now, bring him down to 14%, which is absolutely huge, because pretty much any one of my mons will be able to take him out from here, and he's not particularly fast. So he ends up going out into Sacred here, as I go out into the Heatran, because I was like, he's gone for Sacred Fire so many times, surely he's not going to go for it this time. So he ends up getting the Flashfire boost, which is really absolutely huge, because even that Flashfire boosted is going to do a huge amount to this guy. So he ends up having to switch out and sacrifice Spaghetti, because this Heatran specs with Flashfire is just absolutely crazy. I decided not to run Fire Blast on this, just because I really don't like missing, and after these last two games being, a lot hacks made in it had a sort of really big role in that, I decided not to go for that. I wanted the 100% accurate all the time. So he ends up forcing me out as well, so I have to go out into the Dusclops, as he does go for the U-turn and goes out into Sacred here, which is an excellent prediction on his part. Now this is a really tricky choice. I could either stay in and get a hit off, because I had a chance to KO. I end up going for the Synthesis here, because I realised I could actually wall this guy pretty comfortably, so I was going to go for another one, but I predicted the switch here, which was a bit of a mistake on my part, because he is able to then Volt Switch out, leaving himself at 3%, which, yeah, was really, really unfortunate. He ends up going out into the Staraptor here, as I go out into the Hitmonlee, because I knew I could fake out here and get some more damage off, but unfortunately, yeah, he ends up switching out. I wasn't able to KO with a following up Mach Punch, so I had to go out into the Dusclops here, as he makes another really, really good double out into the Hariyama. But what I was starting to notice was his team was actually extremely low, so Hitmonlee was going to be really useful. He does go for a knockoff here, and it's at this point where I decided I need to get rid of this Hariyama. So what I had to do was to, I did the calcs and realised actually Close Combat doesn't do a massive amount, because I could Wish and Protect here, and sort of waste his close combats, and also bring him down to a point where his defenses are really, really low, and a foul play and another move from there will be able to take him out, because the Umbreon, that was the only real sort of play that I could make at this point. It was looking like there was a good chance I was going to be losing this one, so I had to just keep going for this. I know it wasn't a particularly nice thing to do, but it was my only option. I was slowly getting whittled down as well, so what I needed to have was a Wish up, as he ends up KOing me, because I knew for a fact with his defense drops I could go out into the Heatran here, and if I can get that Heatran up to a really good level of health, it still synergizes really well with the Dusclops, because it means his Staraptor can't go for the close combat on this in case I bring out the Dusclops. So I go for the Lava Plume here, as he sacks off Yellow Sacred here, and the Wish comes up, and that brings me up to a really, really comfortable level of health. He ends up going out into this, as I decide to stay in, because I realise that he probably has run out of close combats here, so he ends up going for the knockoff here, which is actually really, really beneficial, because it means I can switch up my moves here. So I decided to go for the Flash Cannon, as he goes to the Rock Slide here. I decided not to switch out as well, because I didn't really have a potential switching, and I really needed that Eviolite on the Dusclops. He ends up sacking the Scizor here, hoping he could live, but to be honest, I'd be outspeeding anyway, so it wouldn't make much difference. The Staraptor comes out now, and I knew for a fact that there might be a close combat coming my way, so I end up going out into the Dusclops, because it was his only real play there. So I decided to go out into Dusclops, as he ends up sacking this off as well. So I get the Sleep Talk, go for the Seismic Toss, and just start whittling this guy down. I really need this Entei out the way, because this is the #1 prime threat now. It's not as much a threat as it was before, because he had to either go for E-Speeds to go and sort of counter my Hitmonlee, which meant I could go out into Dusclops. If he went for a fire move, I could go out into Heatran. So it's sort of, my team sort of worked really well against that Entei at that point. So I went out into Heatran, because I knew for a fact he didn't have any more close combats, managed to KO the Staraptor with the Flash Cannon, and yeah, it was pretty much GG from here. I did the calcs and saw actually it was a bit iffy. I may not be able to KO even with enough powers. He ends up being Banded and Toxic, which definitely surprised me. So I knew I was going to wake up this turn, so I decided to go for the Seismic Toss here, and just bring this guy down to a level where I could do one more Seismic Toss. But I decided to switch out again into the Heatran, because I knew for a fact this guy couldn't touch me, and after another knockoff or Rock Slide, I could still take an E-Speed from that guy with no problem. So I go for the Flash Cannon here, and now it's GG from here, because the Entei can't pick a move that's going to be able to counter all of my team, because a Fake Out Mach Punch combo from my Hitmonlee will be able to take out Sacred as well. So that was the end of the match, and it was absolutely incredible. Some of the plays that were made were just absolutely crazy. So I hope you guys thought the battle was as great as I did. It was definitely the best battle I've ever had. So I hope you guys enjoyed the battle, and I will see you guys at our next one. macadii out.